Hey everyone, it's Relic here, and we are back on the FTOG server playing some more Quantus. And yeah, if you watched the last episode, you remember that we'd started to sort out the first bits and pieces that we need to do to automate our food production. And yeah, specifically the delighted meal from Pam's Harvestcraft. And yeah, we'd set up the cow farm up here, so we're getting beef and milk over in our little area just inside of there somewhere. And yeah, in the meantime, I've set up the farm over here. Now there's a load of stuff that we probably don't need in here, but it was just to fill it up. And yeah, really happy with how it's looking actually. It's pretty cool now it's populated with some stuff. But the most important thing is, so we've got our wheat in here, and that's feeding the cows upstairs, and hopefully it's also going into the inventory. I haven't checked that yet. And you can see it's going pretty fast. Now I've added an imaginary time block from Quantum Flux on there. Now it has got an off mechanism, so it's not going to create any lag on the server. That's only running whilst I'm on here. But if we just, can I just actually, oh yeah, we just checked that out. It's just actually snapped a hoe as we are speaking. That's fine. We'll just leave that as it is for now. And I'm going to put one of the unbreakable items in here. I'm hoping that we can make something unbreakable anyway, pretty much with the Tinker's Construct. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. But yeah, not going to be doing that today. And I've set up some of the farming stations in the other areas as well, just where I need stuff. So I've got our tomatoes and our potatoes over here. And I've also put in vacuum chests just to pick up any of the items that weren't being picked up, just in case, by the farming station, because there were a few instances of that. And then I've got a little bit more wheat, some lettuce, and the blackberries over here. So we've got pretty much all our items. The only thing that isn't kind of automated at the moment is snowballs, which you need for the smoothies. And I've set a snowman up right up the top because it needed to be above Y level 154 in order to work. And yeah, I haven't automated that yet because that looked, I did have a quick look online how to automate snow because I've not done it before, and it looked quite a rigmarole just to do it in an episode where we've got a lot going on anyway. So we'll perhaps do that some other point in time. But yeah, I don't mind collecting that manually for now. And as I say, we've got a load of stuff in there, including some of the snow, and I've got some more of that in my network anyway. And yeah, it looks like we're getting quite a bit of wheat in there as well, so that's all good. So for automating this, we're going to use the crafter from RFTools. And yeah, we probably could have used applied energistics because I believe that is open to us now. But yeah, we're nowhere near getting that ready yet. So yeah, the RFTools Crafter is a pretty good item anyway. And if I just nip in, I can just show you how easy this is to set up. I mean, it's the cheapest item for Autocraft, and I think we've got potentially, apart from maybe some of these workbenches. But if I actually put in crafter, it'd be easier. It's a tiered item, and I've made some already. I've gone with the tier 3s, and the reason why it's so easy just to upgrade it. So you need a machine frame, some crafting tables, and some redstone torches, and then to upgrade it, you just need one of the previous items and more of the same, all the way up to tier 3. So yeah, I thought, why not? And I've got this little trench down here just so that we can draw some power along here, because obviously we are going to need to power them, and hopefully we'll have enough. We'll make some more of this if we need to. I'm not sure if we've got the materials anymore, but yeah, that's fine. So we've got that along there, so I guess we're going to start that from about here. And what I am going to do first of all, before we even do anything else, is I'm just going to grab myself some storage here, and I want to just grab this card. Now, can I set this within here? No, I can't. I've got to go up and set it there, just so that we're not pulling any more wires off of here, because I did notice that these conduits, if they start to get in loops, then it stops the whole thing working. Something I've never noticed before. But yeah, I'm just going to nip upstairs really quickly and get that linked up. Okay, so got the card, and we can pop that in here, and now we'll have access to all of our stuff over this side. And if we just grab out some of the item conduit, we can make sure that we can pull stuff out. I'm not going to start changing the setting on this just yet to extract, because I don't want it to start pulling stuff out just yet. But yeah, pretty cool. And if we... Can we pop this along here so that it goes all the way along? I'm not sure exactly how far. Hopefully it goes all the way. But yeah, we're going to need to make some filters in order to make sure that we don't just pull the wrong stuff through, I guess. Fine, right, so we'll start off with the first crafter there. Now, just to save on making any more of these things, I'm just going to put these directly into the ground. Yeah, so they get in power. Just check, and also obviously it'll be able to pull stuff from here once we've made the relevant filters. Okay, so the first thing then we're going to want to do is, if we go back into the delighted meal, and I don't seem to be able to do anything today without faffing about, and I'm still on caps lock, is we are going to want to go into here because we want to make the hamburger, and that's it. That's fairly easy. But the first thing, say, we need is toast. And in order to make toast, first of all, we're going to need to make some bread. And then once we've made some bread, we're going to need to put it across into a furnace. And we are going to want to be able to turn that into toast. So, in fact, have we even got a furnace? I don't quite know what is going on with the screen here, actually, but yeah, that's fine. We'll deal with that for now. So let's just grab out a furnace. Why has that happened? Have I pressed a button that I shouldn't have pressed? Right, so there's the furnace, and I really don't like that. I might have to relog in a minute just to get rid of that. I really don't know why that has happened. Oh, that is so weird. And I seem to have lost my hands as well, which is also quite a weird thing. Bear with me, I'm going to relog and see if we can sort this out. Okay, so we're back here, and it seemed that relogging has worked because now we've got all of our bits and pieces back together. And I've just dug a little bit of a trench down here just so I can access the bottoms of these. And I've gone ahead and I've linked up a couple of these just so we can get the first crafting operations done. So this first one then, we are going to want, in fact we are going to want some more wheat, which hopefully, yeah, we've got that in the inventory. So we can pop, can we do this? Yeah, good, right, so we can pop this in here. This will be our first recipe, and we want that to go to the output buffer because we want to get that pulled out. So that is absolutely fine. And then we want to put wheat in here, and then we want to fill up the rest of these slots. Now the reason why I'm doing that for is because I don't want it to instantly pull all of the wheat out of our storage into this thing. One stack will be absolutely fine. Then we'll click the remember button, and yeah, everything is good. So that one is now set up, and I think I've got this set onto extract. I've got this one set onto insert. So yeah, then the bread will go into here. Now we need to set ourselves up with an item filter in here. So if we put the item filter in there, and we want bread there. Now you see I've got a couple of the bits and pieces in my inventory already. It's just I've manually done some of those just so that, in fact, we don't want bread, we want to just be pulling in wheat. That would be by far the most sensible thing. And why are we not? Is there any reason why we're not pulling in wheat? Oh, we are starting to pull in some wheat. Good. I think potentially, is that because we're out of wheat again in our system? It is. I just want to go and have a quick check actually and just make sure. I think this is the wheat one. Just want to make sure that that's not got... it's probably run out of a... yeah, it has. Let's just grab a hoe really quickly because that's obviously going to prevent us from moving forward if we don't do that. So we'll grab that. We'll pop the hoe in there. And yeah, so we'll get that running again. That's now getting wheat again. Good. Okay, so we've got this. And this is our toast. And now toast is going to get pulled into here. I'm not really sure why we've started to pull raw beef into here. But yeah, that's absolutely fine because we do need raw beef into this one. Now I found when I was messing around with these that the best thing to do is to, as I say, is to manually craft up some of the recipes and just pop the stuff in that you know is going to be going in there. So we know that for a start off, we know that we're going to want some toast in there. We know we're going to want raw beef. We know that we're going to want a skillet, and then we know that we can blank off the rest of these so nothing else gets pulled through. And the reason, obviously, yeah, again, the reason for doing that is because as soon as you press, this is powered, right? As soon as you press the go button on this, what it's going to do is it's going to go away, it's going to shoot off, and it's going to make all the stuff, unless I'm not sure whether or not we can put a lever on this and actually stop it doing so. So let's pop a lever on there. So that is off, right? And there is no manual. So redstone mode off to activate, redstone mode on to activate. Good, right, okay, so that's off. So that means we can actually get this stuff linked up, and it's not gonna break the system. So we already know then that we're gonna put some toast in here, we're gonna put some beef in here, and what that's gonna do is it is gonna make us a hamburger. So that's our first thing. But we want the output of this not to go into the output buffer. We want it to go back into here. You can see I'll put the hamburger in here. So we put that onto the input buffer. We'll click remember so it remembers all of those items, and then we'll apply that. And that's our first recipe done. Okay, so we are over at our milk processing area, and I've made one change to this. I've added in the crafter and taken away the second mechanical user. And the reason why I've done this is because we're able to change this bucket of milk into the fresh milk, which is the Pam's Harvestcraft milk. And the reason why I've done that is because that means then that we can still send milk across quite easily in a form that we can use, and we still retain the bucket over here. And as I say, it works exactly the same way. This basically does the recipe, empties the bucket, it puts it into the output. That then pulls the bucket back through into the mechanical user, and the process continues. And I've left that running for a while, a very short while, and it's filled up all 300 slots with stacks of milk in here. So it's way more than I needed. We probably could have just gone with 100 card, but yeah, the 300 cards was all I had actually. It was probably a good position to be in. But yeah, so I've shown you that because the next step really that I want to do before we get too involved with going too much further into doing this is to get all of the ingredients that we want to bring into the system. And the next thing that I want to look at is the water system. Now, I'm just going to double check there's nothing down here, and I just want to grab some buckets really quickly so we can make ourselves an unlimited water source down here. And that was not what I wanted. I wanted buckets. Trying to talk and type at the same time. So 1, 2, 3, 4 buckets. We'll pop the rest of those back, put those in there, and let's jump down, get some water. As I say, it'll become quite clear while we're doing this very shortly. So let's just quickly, can we grab that? 1, 2, 3, and 4 buckets, and then we'll jump back in here and we'll change that into the water source just in the corner here. I think it's probably a good place to put it, to be honest. So 1 bucket there, and yeah, just get all that done. Bucket there. I think I only need 3 buckets, I think, because that will complete the water source, which it does. Cool. Right, so the reason why I'm doing this, by the way, is because there's no really easy way other than doing this that I found anyway of creating buckets of water that we can use as part of the process. Now, it's going to be easier for us to use the Pam's Harvestcraft water, and the way that we're going to go about doing that is we are going to grab out this fluid tank. Now, I should point out at this point in time that I've already set this up once and torn it down. I did record it, but the recording didn't turn out that well, didn't turn out that great. So yeah, I decided just to do that again. So if you see bits that are already configured, that is the reason why. So what we need to do then, in fact, it's probably good that I grabbed an extra bucket of water, because I want to have this in the corner here. with a water transfer node, which I'm hoping I've got. Yes, I have. And we can pop that on top of here like so, and then we can get rid of the block then. In fact, that didn't even have to worry about refilling it with water because it's done it for us automatically. And we'll grab the mining upgrade as well. Now, yeah, as it says there, it allows the mining of cobblestone and the pumping of water, and that will now fill up with water. And if we put this upgrade in, it will fill it up a lot quicker. And then finally, yeah, we just need to grab the fluid tank, and if we place that there, and we'll put a piece of transfer pipe in between the two, and then that will keep that topped up with water. But like I said, that is already pretty much topped up with water. And then all we need to do is just pop a bucket in here, and that will automatically fill that up with water. Now, I did think when I did this the first time that it needed power, but yeah, it turns out that it doesn't actually require any power at all. And the next thing that we need to do then is we need to grab ourselves one of the crafters, and we're going to pop that next door to it just here. In fact, we can do push with this, so we don't actually need to have a space in between it, so we can pop that just, in fact it was there already, what am I doing? We can pop that there, and if we change this side here to push, then this should put the bucket in there, which it does. Good. Right, and the next thing that we need to do then is to pop this in here, and that is going to make us some water. And I probably should have done that on this one up here. We want the results of this to go to the output buffer down here, because we want the bucket to go down to the output buffer so we can pull it back over to here, which is going to be pretty easy to do. So all we're going to do, in fact, is fill up this entire row so that we don't start getting ridiculous amounts of water as well. We'll click apply on here, and I'm kind of, that needs some power actually. I don't think, oh, it's got power in there. I don't actually know, just remember that. I don't actually know why. That's because it's got no spaces to do it, so let's forget that. And that should, in theory, be grabbing that. Let's just try that again. Let's take that out, apply, go into here, pop the water bucket in here, press apply. That's because I've already set this onto the redstone mode when I did this the first time. Fine, so we'll grab a lever and we will pop that. I think on the front is probably the best place for it. Just click it on for a second. And yeah, so there we go. So the water is that really where we want the water? Yeah, it is, because we don't want to keep anything there. So we'll pop that one back, click remember, and then obviously the next thing that we need to do is we need to be able to grab this bucket out and put it back in here. Now that I found that the easiest way to do that is to grab some item conduit and a filter. Now this probably has got something to say assigned to it already, but we will clear that. So we want to put conduit there. We want to turn that into insert, and then okay, cool, it's got the bucket on it already, which is exactly what we want. And then we can change that back to always active, and then we should see the bucket going in and out, and this starting to fill up this inventory, hopefully with a bit of water. If we put that on and go in, then we can start to see that filling up with water. Cool. Right, so that's that bit. And then obviously we've got the milk as well, and the milk is contained in one of these, I think it's this storage, and just trying to think where the best place to put this is, because in fact that's going to need power, so we are going to need, we'll pop that up there for now, Russ. So that, yeah, that is the milk, and we just need to grab out some of this wool so that we can put some power in here. And I'm thinking to myself, actually, if we we put that there. We put a power cell in the corner. And hopefully I've got one of those. We have, good. Right, so put that there. Has that got a card in it? It has. So send output to the sides and grab some of the energy conduit. And we'll just put that along here. So that will now start to fill up with power. And the next thing we want is another one of the crafters. And yeah, crafter just there. Just incidentally, while I'm doing this, the first couple of times that I made this fluid tank from EnderIO, I had my bound blood drop on me, and that caused the tank to immediately fill up with blood because obviously it was in my hotbar. And yeah, so not the best thing to have done. Straight away then, we want to grab some more levers. Let's make sure that we've got those in our hotbar, like so. And we want that to go on to only to be active. And we want to pull that water bucket out into here, like so. So that is going to pull in water buckets. Now, we want to make sure that we've got that filtered as well, and this is probably now going to be the wrong filter, but it's fine, we'll just change them as we go along. And that's got nothing in it. Cool. So let's grab out some water buckets just so that we can get this show on the road. So we only want to pull water buckets into there, and we'll change that to always active. Okay, that hasn't got any water buckets in at the moment, but if we were to put some in there like so, then yeah, they would all now appear in here. Cool. And the next thing that we want to do then, if we just remind ourselves of the recipe, so we've got the hamburgers going on, and the bit that we're wanting to do at the moment is, I probably should have mentioned this, is the cheese. And in order to make cheese, first of all, we're going to need to make salt, which is a pot and some water. And then we're going to need to make, if I can just get to the right block of cheese, we're going to need to make the cheese with the salt, another pot and some milk, hence why I've got the milk above here. So just exactly the same as I've done over here. I'm just going to pop all of those recipes in and link that up, and I will be back in a minute. Okay, so we are back, and yeah, so I've linked all this up. I've moved the modular storage down from here to here just because it made it all work a little bit neater. And essentially how it's working then, so we're pulling the water across into here. This is processing the salt, using that salt to make the cheese, and then the cheese is being output back into our main storage. And the bucket, or sorry, the pot is being pulled back into here via this little loop. And yeah, that's going to be pretty handy knowing how to do that, because we can use that in other places as well. So now then we can come back over here and we can add the cheese into the cheeseburger. So if we've got to remember on there at the moment, if we hit forget for a minute and we just change that over to cheese, and then we want to remember that again, and let's just grab one of those pieces of cheese out. We go and hit another recipe on here. And what we want essentially is one of these burgers and a bit of cheese, and then that is going to make us the cheeseburger. And we want to keep that in the internal buffer. So what we need to do is hit internal like that, press apply, and there is the cheeseburger. And now we are just going to grab one of those, and in fact we'll grab that burger as well, because we've got remember hit on there, so we can change that into a cheeseburger, and we can create a little slot in here for that as well. So, and I have just messed that up, haven't I, because now it's going to forget that the burger is there. So if we take that out, yeah, as I thought, as soon as I did that, I realized the error of my ways, because that has now filled that up with toast which wasn't exactly what we wanted. So let's just swap that over for now, hit the remember button, and if we just quickly switch that on, will that now make us some burgers? It does. Cool. Right, so we can now hit the forget button, change that over. And cool, right, so we're all now back up to speed again. And obviously the next bit is to make the deluxe cheeseburger, which is going to mean bringing in some of the tomatoes and the lettuce. Let's grab some lettuce. Let's grab some tomatoes. Now, I didn't need them all. We'll put those back over there in a minute. But if for now, in fact, before we do anything else, let's put that in there. Let's put that in there. Let's hit the remember button. And now all we need to do is whack that in there like so. Whack that in there and that in there. In fact, that wasn't what we wanted to do because we've just done it on the wrong slot. So let's try that again. Cheeseburger, tomato and lettuce. And there we go. So we've got the deluxe cheeseburger. And that is also going to go in our internal slot. So we'll apply that. And we've got the deluxe cheeseburger. Now, hopefully, we can... What can we do to make this easier? Can we... We've got the cheeseburger. In fact, let's just take that out for now. So we'll take that out. And we'll take out some of those and some of those. Let's quickly make one of those, so that we can create a slot for it like so. So there's the deluxe cheeseburger. Grab those back out again and pop that into we're back in that same position again, aren't we? So we're going to need a hamburger and some cheese, which I would imagine that we've got over here. Let's hope so. Did we actually put any cheese into here? We didn't. Right, I must have some cheese made somewhere. Let's see if we've got some cheese. We haven't, but we have got some of the deluxe burgers. Fine, let's pop that there, pop that there, pop the deluxe burger, and there's some extra meat there and some cheeseburgers as well. And let's just rectify it that way. So that was the cheeseburger, and then we've got the deluxe cheeseburger as well. So we can now hit the forget button, swap that over. So we've now got the deluxe cheeseburgers in there. And remember that, like I said, I've got a load of this stuff because we've kind of already been through the process once. But this is working out much, much better. It's much neater. There were pipes everywhere when I did it the first time. Cool, right, so we got that. And if we just remind ourselves of the recipe, that's the first whole piece of the recipe. Now we need the fries. And the fries is just potato, bit of bakeware, and some salt. Now that is going to be pretty easy to do. And like I said, we've got the salt over here, so we may as well do this recipe over here as well. In fact, before we do that, just a quick thing. Let's make sure that we know what we're pulling in here. So let's just grab out a piece of cheese really quickly and pop that onto the filter. And then finally, and I can already see where this is going to come unstuck. We're going to want to send this external to another crafter. We'll do that in a minute. So we've got that, and in fact we've kind of come a little bit unstuck already. So let's grab another one of these. And yeah, we'll pop that up there. And we're going to have to grab another filter on here. And actually then we should be fine, because that will be enough filter slots to see us probably through to the end of the process. So let's change that onto insert. We'll put the filter in here. We don't want bakeware in there. What we want in there is tomatoes and lettuce. So that should now start filling up with those things. We've got the cheese in there. Good. I'm sure I forgot something, but it's fine. We'll come over here and make the chips anyway. So just got to remind myself what the bakeware, potato and salt. So we've got bakeware just here. So if we come into here and we put in some, in fact, let's grab some potatoes first of all, just to make life a little bit easier. And And yeah, we've got some salt in there as well. Good. Right, so we want to go potato, bakeware, and salt. And that is going to go external as well, because we're going to pull that out. So we hit apply, and we've got fries in there. And what's going to happen is all of that stuff is going to end. Sorry, the chips and the bakeware is going to end up down here, which is fine. But what we need to do is first of all we need to put the salt back like so. Then we can hit the forget button. We can swap that out for potatoes, and we can swap that out for bakeware. And that's fine. That's all we need to remember there. So remember those items. Then we'll take the bakeware back out again. And we will put bakeware on this filter as well. And then obviously we'll put the bakeware back in here again. So that will now make us fries. Now the only thing that I'm not sure about is because there are 2 recipes now that are making salt. Oh, sorry, that are using salt. I don't know which way it's going to work, whether or not it will just continually make one and ignore it or not. So we may well have to do 2 salt recipes. I'm not sure yet, but we'll leave it as it is for now. And then over here, yeah, so we want to be able to make some fries. Now, I know that I've definitely got some fries made already. So, yeah, quite a few of them actually. So we need to come over here, and one of the inputs now on here will be fries. So that will get fries into our system, and we can get rid of the rest of this food. Probably should have put it back into the main storage, to be honest, but yeah, that's fine. And now over here we want to have, and that was not at all what I wanted to do. Let's grab those fries back out again, because we need to put another input in it. Now, did we have a slot left on here? I think we did, yeah. Right, so we're also going to bring fries into here. Cool. Right, so we've now got 1 item left to do, and that is going to be the smoothie. Now, I already know what the recipe is for that, so we can just go right ahead and do it. Now, first of all, we want to grab some of the blackberries, like so. We need to make sure that we bring them in, obviously, so put some blackberries in here, and then that should now start to bring, oh no it doesn't. So we want to do forget, we want to bring in blackberries and remember, and then we want to do forget again, put that in there and remember, so that we've got fries as well. Let's just double check that we're bringing in everything. So cheese, fries, lettuce, tomato and blackberries. Let's just go back in here. Cheese, fries, lettuce, tomato and blackberries. Cool. How many slots have we got left? Good. We've just about got enough slots left to do this, because we need to bring snow into here as well, because that is obviously part of the recipe. And tell me that we've got some. We haven't got a lot, so not a lot of messing around can be done with this. So we need to make sure that we've got snow going in like so, and then we want a snow slot. So let's just do forget, create a snow slot and remember, and then finally, and we've got the juicer here already, so the last forget on there, we'll put that there, remember that, and that is then gonna be the last thing that we need to remember on here, and that's gonna go external. Is that gonna go external? So that's external. Why did I have those external? They need to be internal, because we're keeping all of the recipes in there. So let's just actually, the remaining items will remain in input. Okay, that's not quite how we wanted it to be. We want the whole lot to remain internal. apply. We want the whole lot to remain internal. And we want the whole lot to remain internal. Kind of messed these recipes up a bit, haven't we? Skillet. And yeah, okay, let's just quickly rectify that because I don't quite know why that happened. So the cheeseburger is that and a hamburger. That's going to make a cheeseburger. And then the deluxe cheeseburger. How on earth did that happen? It's the cheeseburger, piece of tomato, and a lettuce. Like so, so apply. That's really weird how that happened. But fine. So we got that, we got that, we got that. And now we can go down to the final recipe slot. And that's why, because we've got stuff in here. And that's going to be blackberries. And let's just make sure that we don't fill all of that stuff up. Snow and the juicer. And then that's going to make the blackberry smoothie. So it's the final input before we can put the meal together. And we want the results of that to stay internal. So we'll hit the internal button. And we won't have to worry about the juicer going anywhere. And then obviously the final recipe. Let's just make sure. This is really weird how it changes the recipe. Right, so that's the skillet. That's that. That's that. That's that. Right, fine. So now we just need to hit that. Good. And we need one of the deluxe cheeseburgers, like so. Now we haven't got a smoothie yet. I'm fairly sure that I would have made one of those at some point in time. So let's hit smoothie. Yes, we did. Good. Right, so let's put the smoothie in first. Then we want some fries. And we want the deluxe cheeseburger. And that's our final output. And as that's the final output, we want that to go external. Okay, so I actually went ahead and just used a copy of this in the storage room with the remote ID 12 with an item filter just for the delighted meal on it. So yeah, it should just feed through exactly that. And it's not routable, so it didn't need to be. So nothing will affect what's going in here. I just want to make sure that this is kind of filling up a little bit. So we do need to, certainly the leather, we need to get that out of here somehow. But anyway, just want to test then if this works. And the other change that I've made is I've just stopped this going into the main storage. So this was the output, the cheese and the fries, just going directly into the crafter over here. And the reason why I've done that is obviously because we don't want this to just be filling up with those items, because it would just continue going until that was completely full, and then that would break the system. And then in here, I've taken one of the pots out because we don't need two pots because it will only craft one thing at a time. And I've just put a couple of blank, I'll say blank pieces in there, a couple of stones in there, just so that we've only got those two slots, so it doesn't start filling up all the inventory if it's a bit slow moving over here, because obviously this will only take the 64 of each stack over here. So I want to get this running and just see what this actually wants to create. Straight away it's creating the cheese. Now the reason why it's done that is because I suspect, yeah, both of these are full, so it doesn't really matter which one it's doing. So we've got the wheat in there. We're going to need more coal or charcoal in there, so let's just bung some of that across. We're going to need to grab some more of that as well because we are fast running out. So we've got that in there, and now this should start filling up a little bit more with toast. And I'm kind of scared to pull the lever on here, but let's do it anyway. So that is now going to go away. It's going to create some bits and pieces, and I'm kind of hoping that the fact that that has stopped and it's got the cheeseburger, it can make the deluxe cheeseburgers, which it's got already, and it should, in theory, be rattling off. We haven't got the, hang on a second, we've made one error on here, and that is that we haven't got a slot for the smoothie. So let's just fill this back up again. And that was hamburgers that we wanted on there. So let's just grab some hamburgers, which I'm fairly sure that we've got a ton of those. So let's fill that slot back up again just so that we can quickly do it. Still remember. And let's do a forget. And then we want to put that in there as well. Right, so hopefully now when we press the button, yeah, cool. So we've got the output there. And I'm not sure why that's just sitting in that output actually. That shouldn't be doing that. It's probably because we haven't put this onto... we need to put this onto in and out. And then on the excerpt, if we put that to always active. Let's try that again. Active with a signal. Redstone mode, never active. Cool. So that should now be in our inventory. So let's just double check. So if we go in, type in delighted meal, and there we go. So we've got 19 of those. But cool, I am going to end the episode there. And I hope you've enjoyed it. It's just been a little bit something different. I've never really thought about automating the Pam's Harvestcraft before. But yeah, if you like the episode, then drop us a like. Always, always appreciated. And just need to find somewhere to grab a screenshot from for the thumbnail. And I'm guessing, is that a good place? Yeah, I'm guessing that was probably a good place just there. I'd quite like not to have had that bin in there, to be honest, but fine. And yeah, as always, guys, thanks ever so much for watching. Take care, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye.